Hello then, welcome to the World News at 12 on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Wachuku and these are the top stories. Fresh crisis erupts in Rivers as court bars Amawale-led assembly from acting as state lawmakers. CJN confirms Chief Judge's summon as NJC set to probe conflicting order on Kano Emirship tussle. Anambra police gunned down one-seated home enforcer, recover gun. Labour Party lawmaker speaks on the suffering of Nigerians at the National Assembly. Details now. The World News at 12 begins with the State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, barring the State House of Assembly members led by Martins Amawale from sitting and parading themselves as lawmakers in the state. Justice C.N. Wali gave the order in a suit filed by the pro-governor Similai Fubara lawmakers led by their speaker Victor Okwojumbo and two others, Sokari Goodboy and Orubunwega Timothy. The suit listed 25 lawmakers as first to 25th defendants and Rivers governor, the Attorney General, the Chief Judge of the state as 26 to 28 defendants. The court had on May 10 granted a similar order on the motion ex parte, stopping the governor, the Attorney General and the Chief Judge from interacting with the affected lawmakers. The interlocutory injunction was granted on May 29th, with the court adjourning the suit to July 1st, 2024 for mention. Meanwhile, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukade Ariwoola, has summoned the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Soho, and his counterpart in Kano State, Justice DJ Aboki, over the recent conflicting orders emanating from the courts under them. You will recall that the two courts had given conflicting orders that has casted a shadow over the leadership dynamics within the Kano Emirate, prompting the CJN's intervention to prevent further escalation and confusion. While the Kano State High Court had given orders in favor of the 16th Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi, the Federal High Court had backed the dethroned 15th Emir Aminu Ado Bayero. Following the CJN's decision to invite the two Chief Justices, the National Judicial Council has scheduled an emergency meeting for next week, where the duo would also be invited and subjected to serious investigations. This was made known in a statement by the Director of Information at the National Judicial Council, Soji Oye. He disclosed that both Chief Judges were scheduled to have a meeting with the Chief Justice of Nigeria today, May 30, 2024. Elsewhere, the Anambra police has demobilized one illegal sit-at-home enforcer, recovered one locally made Barretta pistol, 4 expanded cartridges, 2 phones and other incriminating items. Following the intel gathered, the operatives yesterday, May 29, by 2 p.m., ambush was laid on the miscreants along Oba flyover Idemili South, intercepted a gang of 4 armed men operating on motorbikes and demobilized one of the miscreants while the other 3 escaped the scene with bullet injuries. The operatives recovered a locally made Barretta pistol, 4 expanded cartridges, 2 phones and some signals initials showing unpatriotism and disloyalty to the Nigerian government. Preliminary information shows the armed men were regrouping to enforce illegal sit-at-home, which is today, May 2024. Meanwhile, the operatives are on the trail of the 3 armed men who escaped the scene. To this end, the Commissioner of Police charged the operatives to sustain the temper of the onslaught against the criminal elements and continue to deny them the space they enjoy to commit havoc in the state. You'll recall that security operatives called on residents to ignore the order by the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra for people of the Southeast to sit at home on May 30, 2024 to mark the Biafra Remembrance Day celebration. Addressing newsmen during a confidence-boosting parade in Owerri on Wednesday, the Commissioner of Police, Danjuma Aboki, said security operatives were ready to arrest anyone or group attempting to foment trouble in the state under the guise of a sit-at-home order. IPOB, you would recall, had disclosed the day was set aside to honor those who died during the Civil War between July 6, 1967 and January 15, 1970. IPOB also warned that all activities in the Southeast be banned on the 30th of May, calling on the governors in the region to provide adequate security for lives and property on that day. Also, the Movement for the Actualization of the Sovereign State of Biafra, MASOB, insisted that today's celebration must be held despite threats by the Nigerian security agencies. A member of the Labour Party in the House of Representatives, Lilian Orugbu, has stated that there is nothing to celebrate about Nigeria's 25 years of uninterrupted democracy. VAP News gathered that Lilian, representing Awka North, Awka South constituency of Anambra State on Wednesday, expressed divergent opinion on the state of affairs in the country, stating that the system of government has not yielded much result for the nation. Orogbu, a professor of business administration, declared that Nigerians had not enjoyed good governance for 25 years after the return of democracy. The Labour Party charged the lawmakers about delivering dividends of democracy to the people, adding that 25 years unbroken democracy had not translated into unbroken food security or access to education and healthcare. Let's take a listen to Lilian Orogbu at the House yesterday, advocating for the plight of Nigerians.
People chance to speak, and we're celebrating 25 years of independence. 25 years of unbroken democratic system. And for me, this celebration is coming to me with so much mixed feelings, because Nigerians are all watching us. Nigerians are listening to us. Those people we are representing are listening to us. How much of this democracy, unbroken democracy that we are celebrating today, how has it translated to, unbroken food security? How has it transformed into unbroken security in the nation? How has it transformed into unbroken access to education, access to healthcare? And we're talking about celebration of democracy. The democracy is government of the people, for the people, by the people. And it should actually change the lives of our people. We are representing our people. Our people are hungry back home. For me, to be honest with you, Mr. Speaker, there is nothing to celebrate.
Oh, you are saying we should not celebrate
we should
democracy?
be looking at celebrating food security. We should be looking at celebrating access to healthcare. So we should be looking at celebrating. There are a lot of things to celebrate. We know that we have had unbroken. Excuse me, please. I need to be protected. I need to be protected, Mr. Speaker.
You are protected, but democracy is what is protecting you. Democracy has given you that place you are standing.
We have on this floor
to be a parliamentarian. It's democracy that gave you that platform. Are you saying you are not celebrating it?
How has it impacted? We need it to move a step further. We need it to move a step further. If I am here and it has brought me here, how has it impacted my own people? That's what I'm talking about, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.
So please,
thank you.
We are celebrating, I am celebrating, but we should be able
you are celebrating it now.
Implement what we have been doing here.
Thank you. So you are celebrating it now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, democracy. That's the last words countered her first word, because democracy gave her the platform to be able to address this issue, and to say she is not celebrating it is what brought her. Honorable Kafilat, I want to hear you speak. Please.
Oh, well, you just listened to Lilian Orogbu speaking yesterday at the National Assembly while they were all trying to celebrate Democracy Day, and of course when the old national anthem will now be officially adopted as Nigeria's recent national anthem. And of course you heard the speaker having to interject. Well, moving on, the All Progressives Congress APC Publicity Secretary Felix Smoker has said President Bola Tinubu has the prerogative to fire any Nigerian minister who fails to meet his administration's performance benchmark in the first year in office. Moka made this known today in an interview with a television station while reacting to calls by some Nigerians for Tinubu to sack non-performing ministers. You'll recall that the director of the Center for Social Justice, Eze Onyekpere, during an interview on Wednesday, said the Minister of Power, Agriculture, Works, Blue Economy and Water should be sacked. Powers also stated that Nigerians should allow the performance evaluation process set up by Tinubu to work, stressing that the president is solely responsible for the evaluation. You're currently listening to the World News at 12 on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll head into a news analysis segment where I'll be joined via the telephone by Barrister Eze Eluche, who'll be giving us the legal angle to some questions I'll be posed to him. And right here in the studio is Mr. Peter Anosike. Peter Anosike is a political, social, and national affairs commentator. And he's actually here for a statement he made yesterday evening on the World News at 6, which has actually manifested itself. Mr. Peter Anosike is going to be speaking on that as well. Do stay with us. All right, welcome back. Barrister Eze Eluche, good afternoon and thank you for joining us on the World News at 12.
Thank you for having me on the studio.
I sincerely do appreciate you taking your time to be part of the World News. Barrister Eze Eluche, I'm going to start with you. The Rivers State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has granted an order of interlocutory injunction restraining Martin Amawule and 24 other lawmakers from parading and holding themselves as members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. And this particular court was presided by Justice C.N. Wali, who issued the interlocutory injunction against Governor Similai Fubara, the State Attorney General of Rivers State, and the Chief Judge of the Rivers State on the 26th to 28 defendants in the suits. Now, they are restrained from dealing with, interfacing, or accepting any resolution, bill, or other actions from Amawule and the 24 other lawmakers. You would recall that just last month, Nyesom Wike, when he was in Rivers State, when he was speaking with his supporters, promised these lawmakers that nothing will happen to them. I think I spoke with you when I asked the question, what does Nyesom Wike have for him to have made such a bold, audacious statement that nothing would happen to those defected lawmakers? Now that these lawmakers, the court has asked them to stop parading themselves officially as lawmakers and declaring their seats vacant, what do you think is going to happen and what's the next move?
Well, the fact is that the Nigerian constitution is very clear on one of the qualities that can make a lawmaker to lose his seat in the legislative house. And that is the moment you jump ship, the moment you leave the party under whose platform you were elected and you jump into another party or cross over to another party, you automatically lose your seat. So what the court has just done is to adumbrate the constitutional provision, to highlight it. And then for Wike's comment, I think he was just fooling himself, because he thought he had some powers behind him. But the fact is that the constitution is very, very clear on this ground. And this is what the court should have been holding in several other instances, not just Rivers State. We should begin to take our constitution, our country, and ourselves serious. So I give kudos to this judge in Rivers State who has just said clearly, who has given effect to clear provisions of the constitution. If the Nigerian judiciary, Nigerian courts were doing this all along, we will not be up in arms against the rascality we observe in the judiciary. So kudos to this judge once more. This is the ideal way to go. And those 24 lawmakers and their speaker, they do not belong to the house. They are impostors. They are just pedestrians when they come in there, and they should be dealt accordingly.
So does it mean now that INEC can officially conduct fresh elections for those vacant seats, since the court has officially declared those seats vacant?
Certainly. I mean, I don't even know why they have to wait for the court to declare.
That was what INEC said the last time. I think for Osun and another state, they said that they said the fresh elections will be taken for those seats. And we were surprised when Rivers State wasn't mentioned. INEC eventually spoke up and said that they were waiting for the court to officially declare those seats vacant before they take on the action of actually conducting fresh elections. So it means with this now, then INEC can conduct fresh elections for those seats the court has declared vacant.
Well, I think that we still remember that INEC is still headed by this same character, Mahmoud Yakubu,
yes,
who did the magic of 2023 elections. I do not have much confidence in this INEC. But the ideal thing that should have happened was the moment those characters left the party under which platform they were elected and crossed over to another party, INEC was actually mandated by the Constitution. But agreeing waiting for a court to give an order that if there was some kind of contestation, if there was some kind of litigation, it's okay. Now the courts have given the order, INEC has no other business waiting. But of course, these characters will also go on appeal and then to the So there is some time within which the legal process can play out. But hopefully, the appeal court and the appellate court will give expedite actual remedies to this issue and declare the Constitution to be the ultimate law. We can't be joking with the Constitution.
All right, look at the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Ariwola, Olukoyede Ariwola. He summoned the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Soho, and his counterpart in Kano State, Justice DJ Aboki, over the recent conflicting orders emanating from the courts under them. I'm sure you recall that the two courts gave conflicting orders that had casted a shadow over the leadership dynamics within the Kano Emirate. Now, you recall this same Justice Ariwola, I think during a particular workshop when he was addressing others at the bars that needed to be promoted, he said that politicians have balkanized judicial institutions. In fact, he said that politicians threaten these judges. Does it mean with the statement he made that politicians' threats on judges could affect whatever judgment they give on any case? Because with what happened in Kano State and this particular two conflicting court orders, does it verify the fact that indeed the Judicial Council or the court system has been balkanized by politicians based on who can pay more? What's your take on that?
Well, one of the problems we even have with the Nigerian judiciary is that the Chief Justice of the country has the temerity or the powers to summon other big judges from other states or even the Chief of the Federal High Court. Such an aberration. It should not be what is the rule, but because even the Chief Justice himself should be subject to an authority that can also penalize him when he's erring. Now, a chief judge like Ariwola, who we have seen some of the judgments he made during the election tribunal issues, is now the one in a position to summon other judges. It shows that the system needs to be restructured. The Nigerian system needs holistic restructuring. Okay, this chief judge, what is he going to call them? Because these are the chief judge of the state. Is the ultimate, unless you are going to file actions on appeal, then let it come to the Supreme Court. But he's now acting in his capacity as the chair of the Nigerian Judicial Council. That is why some lawyers, including myself, have wondered why the chief judge of a country should have such enormous powers as to summon other judges. It's not proper. It's certainly not proper. The chief judge should not be chairing the Nigerian Judicial Commission, the council, or other entities that have powers to penalize or maybe caution judicial officers, because he himself, the Chief Justice of the country, is a judicial officer, and in several instances, has erred, such as the various appointments of his relatives into judicial offices.
So, in other words, you're saying that Justice Ariwola is not supposed to summon other chief justices like himself? Is it not part of
yes.
I mean, are you saying he doesn't have the powers to do so?
No, I'm not saying he doesn't have the power to do so. I am saying ideally, a chief judge should not be summoning the chief judge of other states to come and respond and answer issues. There should be an independent panel that will oversee these judicial issues or judicial officers when they are erring. But we have in Nigeria this odd situation whereby the chief judge of the country chairs and presides over several institutions that also help to regulate judges. And this is not how it should be. Let us look at other republics, other federations across the world. You don't hear the American chief judge summoning the chief judge of Texas or California. You don't do that. But so why are we doing what we know is wrong? Now, this is not in defense whatsoever of the actions of the chief judge of Kano State or the chief judge of the Federal High Court, but just the impropriety of the chief judge of the Federation being in a position to summon chief judges from other parts of the from other composing entities of the Nigerian Federation.
All right, Barrister, I'll keep you on the line. All right, I'm just stay on the line, please. Mr. Peter Anosike, yesterday on the World News at 6, we actually talked about the Biafra Day sit at home. Apparently in Anambra State yesterday, 2 p.m., according to the report, a particular sit-at-home enforcer was gunned down, or rather, according to the report from the police, demobilized, and they were able to seize guns. They intercepted a gang of 4 armed men who operated on motorbikes. They demobilized one of the miscreants. 3 others escaped the scene with bullet injuries. The operatives recovered a locally made Beretta pistol, 4 expanded cartridges, 2 phones, and some signals and initials which were showing unpatriotism and disloyalty to the Nigerian government. Yesterday evening, you gave an order that the police should shoot down anyone who stops any of the children going for their WAEC examination, whatever. Now, this is basically what has happened. So you are in support of what transpired yesterday afternoon.
Well, for me, those who are enforcing sit at home are criminals.
Okay.
Anybody, because you are right, and when where another person's own begin.
Okay.
You are not the state. You don't have any power whatsoever to stop somebody from going to his nego business or stop a child from going to school. Those who are doing this are criminals. That's why I say whoever tries to stop these children from going to take their exams should be shot at the spot. There's no need arresting them because they are armed robbers. They are not fighting for Biafra.
All right. Now, other persons and netizens, when this development came online, they were asking questions like, so law enforcement agencies can be very active in the South, while bandits are operating freely in the North. They're like, look at the way they expedited the process in the Southeast. But in the North, bandits kill at whim and do what they like. They loot, pillage, and whatsoever, and they don't apprehend one person. Even when they kidnap numbers of persons, they negotiate their release. So where, in terms of this response, of this reaction, how would you place it?
Well, for me, in the North, there's nothing like sit at home. Understand?
But with the displacement of these terrorists, some of them have to either leave their places, stay at home to protect themselves from these individuals, supposed terrorists or bandits.
My focus is on the sit-at-home issue. It is violation of your fundamental human rights. And today is a very important day for the children taking WAEC. And if they miss today's exam, they have missed it. There's no way WAEC will go and set out another exams for the kids. These are 300,000 children, and some armed robbers want to stop them. And I'm sure none of those people have even a school certificate. Because if you know that the pains it takes to get a certificate, you not or stop another person. But
do you see where a couple of Southeasterners are coming from when it comes to issues that has to do with the Southeast and security issues that happens in North? The dichotomy, the swift reaction from the Nigerian security agencies in apprehending, some IPOB members or some ASM members who engage in anti-activities or destabilize the security of the southeastern states, and the Boko Haram and the bandits that do what they do in the North.
Well, for me, in the North, they are treating them like their own maybe prodigal sons in the North, that they can repent to tomorrow. In the Southeast, we don't have this culture.
All right.
Understand? We don't have this culture. We don't condone evil.
Okay.
Whoever want to obstruct the function of the state should be arrested.
Okay. All right. Well, it happens to be that that's the case. So that means kudos to the Nigerian police for doing what they did yesterday afternoon. Do you think that you could call for the same intelligence gathering for issues insecurity in the North and the North Central? The insecurity in that area has really bedeviled and crippled economic activities and displacement in that area. So for this kind of intelligence gathering and swift response from the Nigerian police and the Nigerian military, wouldn't you say that that should also be expedient in the North as well?
There are cultural differences. Maybe what is accepted in this, what is not accepted in the Southeast could be accepted in the North.
Okay.
Understand?
All right.
In the Southeast, we don't condone all these stupid acts.
All right.
Understand? So in the North, some of them, I still remember what Buhari said in 2014, that killing Boko Haram is depopulating the population of the North. That's what Buhari said.
Okay.
That killing Boko Haram members is the populating or the voting population of the North,
All right.
which means Boko Haram are also among their voting population. Therefore, they shouldn't kill them. But for me, anybody that stops that the function of the state in the Southeast should be arrested.
All right, it is expected that there should be that judicious method in the Southeast. All right, Barrister Ezeluche, let's come on to you now. Do you feel, based on what transpired, yesterday was May 29, it's supposedly meant to be is now a handover day. June 12 is now Democracy Day. One of the Labour Party lawmakers was advocating the fact that there is really nothing to celebrate in terms of democracy, as Nigerians are still in deep in hunger. Now, but a lot of questions came from the fact that what about the state governors? What about the ministers? And the fact that there is a dichotomy between the federal government and the state government. What would you say about that?
Well, before I respond to the question, I'll just make a brief remark on what the person in your studio just said.
Okay.
His stance was very unfortunate. If we are supposed to be having one country, there should be equality of persons across the nation. There should be equality of treatment of people. You cannot be treating criminals in one side as prodigal sons and then killing so-called criminals in other parts of the country as if their lives don't matter. And if indeed, because of the police in the South, is the police and the military operate as occupation forces. They operate with their hands on the triggers, ready to shoot and kill at slightest even interaction with citizens. So it gives the impression that this is a force that was sent to intimidate and harass. Now, this in no way should be mistaken as giving a carte blanche approval to those boys who were said to be trying to enforce the sit at home. Because if they had any sense, those boys, what should have happened as at this time was there should be better means of even celebrating or memorializing the dead, such as a minute or 2 minute silence across the region or across the country. That suffices. In some parts of the world, that's how they remember their past heroes. Okay. You don't just go and want to have a 100% clamp down of the movement and whatever, and then the sub examinations as important as white examination. And you should now wonder, the fact that every time on May 30th, it's either they're having a mathematics exam or an English exam. That will now tell you that even the federal government is part of this scam. Because otherwise, why would they be fixing these very crucial exams on that particular date? I mean, we have to have a holistic approach to these issues. But the fact is, having a total sit down on that day is not realistic, but it's counterproductive.
All right.
Back to your question.
In a minute, Barrister Ezeluche, we've actually run out of time. Okay, so it means you can't respond to that question. But however, thank you so much for taking your time to explain some of these issues. All right, Mr. Peter Anosike, you wanted to say something in response to what Barrister Eze said?
He said, why are they fixing an important subject on May 30th? May 30th is not in our national calendar as a country.
Okay.
There's nothing like May 30th on our national calendar. So nobody should accuse federal government of sabotage or anything.
All right.
It is not an important day to Nigeria as a country, but to the Biafrans, May 30th is important, understand? Okay. But it's not on our national calendar, understand me? So that's the point that I'm trying to make, because I understand where he's trying to do.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Peter Anosike. There are quite a lot of questions which I wanted Barrister Eze to respond to. The distance, or would I say the unconnectivity between the federal government and the state government, the overpromise of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the fact that at the moment Nigerians are complaining about undeliverables. He's under-delivering. And then the ministers appointed, if the president trusts them, what is going on within the sectors? When will there be a review of all of this ministry? So we can no longer continue to have all these clamors and cries against the strangulating economic stratosphere. Thank you so much, Mr. Peter Anosike, for taking your time. All right. To wrap up the world news at 12, here again are the top stories. A fresh crisis erupts in Rivers as court bars Amawule-led assembly from acting as state lawmakers. CJN confirms Chief Judge's summon as NJC set to probe conflicting order on Kano Emirship tussle. Anambra police gunned down one-seated home enforcer, recover gun. Labour Party lawmakers speaks on the suffering of Nigerians at the National Assembly. That's a wrap on the world news at 12. My name is Esther Mwachuku. Good afternoon and thank you for listening. Up next is Area Matter. Do stay with us.